Good day. Welcome, my dear students, to the online lecture series of Metallurgy and Material Science subject. And this is the fifth lecture of the subject. And in the last class, we discussed about crystallography, and we discussed different types of crystal system and crystal structure. According to Bravi's crystal system, there are 7 crystal system and 14 crystal structure. And out of this 14 crystal structure, the commonly most of the metals crystal structures are these body-centered crystal structure, BCC, face-centered FCC, simple cubic, and the hexagonal close-packed crystal structures. And here in this slide, we can see the most common metals and corresponding crystal structures and atomic radius. And we also discussed the relation between the atomic radius and the crystal structure. There is a relation between atomic radius and the crystal structure. And then we discuss about the atomic packing factor, coordination number, and the number of atoms per unit cell, the density of the simple cubic FCC, BCC, and the hexagonal cross-packed structure. So next we are going to discuss about polymorphism and allotropism. So the polymorphism is nothing but it is the existence of more than one equilibrium crystallographic form for elements or compounds at different condition of temperature or pressure. Okay. For example, in case of iron, here we can see for iron there is an alpha value. We can see alpha letter here. So that means this iron showing a polymorphism nature. That means here iron has this crystal structure of BCC, but the iron metal can exist in more than one crystal structure depending upon the temperature and the pressure in which the iron is exists. Okay, so iron can exist in BCC structure or FCC structure. Similarly, we can see for titanium. It's a HCP structure here, but it can exist in more than one crystal structure. So that is called polymorphism. So the existence of more than one equilibrium crystallographic form for the elements or compounds at a different temperature and pressure conditions are called polymorphism. For example, in case of this iron, so this is the solidification process of iron. So when the iron, we know the melting temperature is 1539. So above that temperature at atmospheric pressure, the iron is in liquid state. And when we solidify this iron, initially between this 1538 degrees Celsius and 1394 degrees Celsius, iron is in BCC crystal structure. Okay, so where you can see the semi-solid iron has BCC crystal structure, body-centered cubic structure. Okay, where we give the name for that state of iron is delta iron. Delta iron. Okay, we will study in detail about this type of iron when we study the iron carbon equilibrium diagram of steel. So below 1394 and 912 degrees Celsius, iron exists in FCC crystal structure. Okay, so it's changed from BCC to FCC in between these two temperatures, and where we call that is gamma iron. Gamma iron. And below 912 degrees Celsius, again the iron exists in BCC crystal structure. So depending upon the temperature, the equilibrium crystallographic structure of the iron changing. Okay, similarly we can draw this type of system for a titanium. So number of metals showing this type of changing crystal structure with respect to temperature or pressure, and that is called polymorphism. Okay. So two or more different crystal structure for same material exist. Okay, so here we can say here in this for the iron it is not BCC, but in room temperature we can say it is in BCC. So we can say below 912 degrees Celsius that is in BCC. So at room temperature iron exists in BCC, but at high temperature it may exist in FCC also. So more than one crystal structure is possible for iron element. Okay, so that is called polymorphism. And what is allotropism? The main difference is that allotropism only for one element and polymorphism for a compound. One element or compound. Sorry, more than one element or compound. Okay, so for Fp3C, we can say that is a polymorphism. For one element, we can say that is allotropism. And this allotropism is reversible. Okay. And another example is diamond and one is the another important topic in crystallography, that is crystallography points and points, planes and directions. Crystallography points, planes and direction. So we know that in crystallography we are studying about the arrangement of atoms or molecules in a space lattice. So that is crystallography. So coming to this, what is the need of studying crystallographic directions and planes? So crystallography is the arrangement of atoms. So when we discuss about the properties of the particular material, we should know what is the direction or what is the plane where these properties are changing. And we can say there are different examples where the properties or directions, sorry, the planes or directions are important. For example, in deep drawing process, we know this type of cans, for example, the Coca-Cola can or any type of cans are produced by deep drawing, where we push a particular sheet metal using a punch and we can produce this type of can. But when we do deep drawing process, maybe the output is this type of structure. Okay, the output can maybe of this type of structure. This is called earning problem. Okay, so actually we need a flat end phase, but this type of structure may also produce by this earning problem. And the main reason for this earning problem is certain planes or directions. Certain planes or directions gives this type of earning. Certain planes or direction gives this type of earning problem. So we need to arrange the sheet in such a way that the certain combination of planes parallel to the surface to the sheet and directions, we can avoid this earning problem. So where we need a directions or planes which is favorable to avoid this earning problem. Another example is the transformer. We know in the transformer, by the induction process, the electricity transfer from the primary coil to secondary coil. So there is a magnetic induction. So when we apply the current in a first coil or primary coil, by the magnetic induction, this current is transferred from the primary coil to secondary coil. So when it transfer, there is a chance for hysteresis loss. By heating and the hysteresis loss, this magnetic power may loss. Okay, to avoid that, we need to arrange the material or the crystal in such a way that the crystal should be in a favorable the direction of or the plane of crystal should be which is favorable for the magnetization. Okay, so there are some planes or directions in a crystal which is favorable for magnetization. So in that direction, there is the magnetization loss will be minimum. So we should arrange the primary coil and the secondary coil of the material such a way that the magnetization should be low. So there also we need the planes and direction. We should know about planes and direction. So and another important area where the planes and direction come into the picture is that for a particular material, the deformation maybe happen easily at a particular direction or on a particular plane. Actually, these plane and directions are imaginary. There is no such plane and directions in unit cell or in the crystal structure. But we imagine some planes and direction, and in that planes and direction, the strength is different, or in particular direction we can easily deform materials, or in particular direction the strength are different. Okay, so we should know about the planes and direction for example, for deformation, we need to deform a particular material. So if we know particular direction or particular plane which is favorable for deformation, then we can apply force in that direction. Thereby, we can easily deform a material. Okay, so in all this case, we should know the direction and the planes of the crystal structure. So that is the importance of crystallography: points, directions, and plane. So when we deals with the crystalline materials, it is often become necessary to specify particular point in the unit cell. We need sometimes we need to specify particular point in the crystallography structure. So where we use crystallography points. And like the previous example, we need crystallography directions. For a particular direction, we need to specify or we need to index or name a particular direction in the crystallography. Or some crystallography planes of atoms also play an important role for different applications or for defining different terms in the crystallography. Okay, so three numbers of indices are used to designate points, point locations, directions, and planes. So for addressing or for indexing or for naming a particular point or direction or planes, we are using three numbers or indices. Okay, by using three numbers, we can address or we can name directions, planes, or particular point in the crystal structure. Okay, so next we are going to find these three numbers. How can we represent a particular direction using these three numbers? How can we represent a particular plane in a crystal structure using these three numbers? Or how can we point a particular location on the crystal structure using these three numbers? So all these things we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first one is point coordinate. The position of any point located within the crystal structure may be specified in terms of coordinates as a fractional multiples of unit cell edge length. Okay, so as a fractional multiples of unit length edge length, we can specify particular point in the unit cell or crystal structure. So for example, in this unit cell, so this is a unit cell, and where to specify this point P, we can use these three numbers or indices, QRS. Okay, QRS are the three numbers. Using these three numbers, we can specify this point P. How this point P is specified? For the position of point P in terms of generalized coordinate QRS. QRS is the coordinates of point P, where Q is the some fractional length of A. A is the lattice constant. So this is A, and this is B, that is also a lattice constant, and C is also a lattice constant. So using A, B, C, we can specify this point. So where Q is the fractional length of A, and R is the fractional length of B, and C is the fractional length of, sorry, S is the fractional length of C. So for example, for this point B, the QRS, what is QRS? Where this distance will be, so total distance is A in the X direction, and this distance will be QA. This distance will be QA. Then the indices here is Q. And if distance is RB, then the number here is R. And if this distance is SC, the Z direction, the indices is the lattice constant is C, and this distance is SC, then the number will be S. So using these three numbers, we can specify any point within the unit cell. Any point within the unit cell. Okay, so the position of P is designated using the coordinates Q, R, S with the values that are less than or equal to unity. It may be less than unity or equal to unity. When it comes unity, if it is here, the point P is here, then it will be unity. And all other point for all other points, it will be less than unity. So this is an example for the to a specific point. So this is my point, and this is the lattice constant of this unit cell. Here in X direction, the length is 0.48, and in Y direction it is 0.46, and in Z direction it is 0.40. So that is the lattice constant of this unit cell. I need to find the position or location of this point P. This is my point P, and this point P in X direction, and this point P is located 0.12 nanometer, and in Y direction, the distance to the point P is 0.46 nanometer. In Z direction, from this plane to this point P is equal to 0.20 nanometer. So we know the distance from X, Y, and Z axis to this point P. So that is available from this picture. So if we know this distance, then from that we can find these three numbers QRS. So what is Q? What is Q is equal to 0.12 divided by total length of this edge in the X direction is equal to 0.48. So 0.12 divided by 0.48, that is 1 by 4. And for R, this distance to the P is 0.46, and the total distance of this edge also 0.46. So 0.46 by 0.46, it is equal to 1. And for S, what is the value? For S, the total length is equal to 0.40, and the distance from this plane to this point in the Z direction is equal to 0.20. So 0.20 by 0.40. So that is equal to 1 by 2. So from this, we got three numbers, 1 by 4, 1, 1 by 2. So this is the coordinate of this point P. So this is the name or the address of this point P, or the location of this point P, and it is represented using these three indices, 1 by 4, 1, 1 by 2. Okay, so by this way, we can specify any point in the unit cell. For example, if you know what is the coordinate of this point, here in this point, in the X direction it is 0, in the Y direction it is equal to 1, and Z direction it is equal to 1. So 0, 1, 1. And what about this? In X direction it is 1, in Y direction it is 1, in Z direction also it is 1. So 1, 1, 1. Okay. And what about this? In X direction 0, Y direction 0, but Z direction 1. So each point, any point in the unit cell can be represented using this type of indices. Okay. For that we use these point coordinates. Point coordinate. Okay. So next one is directions. Crystallographic directions, and these crystallographic directions or crystallographic planes actually studied by the Miller, the scientist Miller, and that is why this is called Miller indices. Miller indices. In 1839, the William Miller starts or proposed a system for representing the directions and the planes. So that is why we call these crystallographic directions and the planes as Miller indices. So certain directions and planes within the unit cell carry particular significance. Already I explained about that in case of this earning problem in the CAN, deep drawing of CAN, this some certain directions and play an important role. And in case of magnetization of the cores of this transformer, particular direction and in particular planes of the crystal, the magnetization is very easy. The magnetic loss or hysteresis loss is very minimum. So we need to define that plane and direction using some indices. Okay, so where we need this type of crystallographic directions and planes. And in case of the deformation for a particular crystal structure in some directions or in some planes, the deformation is very easy, or in some direction or some plane, the strength is very high. So to define the this is very important to define the directions and the plane, or it is important to give an address for a particular directions or plane. So that is why we studied about this Miller indices or Miller indices of directions and Miller indices of planes. Okay. So for example, crystallographic directions are used to indicate particular orientation of the crystal. So we need to study the orientation of the crystal because the strength and other important mechanical properties of the crystal is depend upon the orientation of the particles. So where we need to, for the analysis, we need to define the crystallographic directions. Okay. So what is crystallographic direction? Crystallographic direction is defined as the line or a vector between 2 points. So we already defined how can we already explained how can we define a particular point in that unit cell or crystal structure. So what is crystallographic direction? It is a line or it is a vector between 2 points. Okay, so we are going to give a number for this line or vector between these 2 points. So what is the steps of determining these Miller indices? So these are the directions for defining the Miller indices. Determine the coordinates of 2 points that lie on the direction using a right-handed coordinate system. Okay, so initially, first, this is my unit cell. So initially, first this is the origin, and this is the x-axis. This is the y-axis, and this one is the z-axis. X, y, z, and this is the origin. So while defining the directions, every direction should be specified with respect to the origin, or the direction line should be passed through the origin. Okay, so that is very important. We will explain how this can translate this line to the origin. I will explain about that. So determine the coordinates of 2 points that lie on the direction using the right-handed coordinate system. Here, this is the right-handed coordinate system. First, for example, if this is the direction, first calculate the coordinates of the 2 endpoints. Okay, 2 endpoints. So for this point, this is equal to 0, 0, 0. And for this point, in x direction, it's move 1. So 1. In y direction also, it's move 1. But in z direction, it is equal to 0. So 1, 1, 0. 1, 1, 0. So we define the coordinates of the 2 points. Then subtract the coordinate of the tail point from those of the head point and express the same in terms of unit cell dimension. So next we need to subtract these 2 coordinates. So we should subtract from head portion to tail portion. So here 1, 1, 0. So don't give, here we can give comma minus 0, 0, 0. Okay, subtract this 1 minus 0, 1, 1 minus 0, 1, 0 minus 0, 0. Okay. And subtract, we subtract the coordinates of the tail point from those of head point and express the same in terms of unit cell dimension. So we subtract here. Multiply or divide this number by a common factor to reduce them to a smallest integer. Here it is a smallest integer. We can see all the times 1, 1, 1, that is 1, 1, 0. All these are integers and all these are smallest integer also. So there is no need of multiplication or division. But for example, after subtraction, if this is the value 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1. So this name we want to convert into integer value. How can we convert? By multiply with the 4. So because here the highest denominator is 4, multiply with the 4. So here 4 by 2, 4 by 4, 4 and 1, 4. So here it is 2, here it is 1, here it is 4. Okay, so we multiply or divide this number by a common factor and reduce them to smallest integer. Here, and this is the smallest integer here because this is 1. When we divide with any value, it's become fraction. So this is the smallest integer. So in this case, we need to divide or multiply these values after subtraction to get into a smallest integer. But here we don't need any type of multiplication or division. And the three indices are enclosed in a square bracket UVW. So these three indices for the direction, we should use this square bracket. This is very important. We should use this square bracket to indicate the three indices. And negative integer, if we have any negative, for example, after subtraction, if we got -1, we got -1, the negative integer is represented with a bar over the number. For the -1, this is the representation of the indices. Okay, -1, 1, 0. So this is a procedure for determining the direction, Miller indices direction. So these are the examples. So here in this, we can see this is 111, and this is 110, and this is 100. So by this procedure, we can calculate this. And here all these are starting from the origin. Okay, all these are starting from the origin. Just a second. Okay, so here it is 0, 1, 1, 1. And here this is the starting point, ending point is 1, 0, 0. Okay, so here in this case, the direction of A, the points are 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and the next point is 0, 0, 0. So subtract from 1, 0, the head portion to tail portion, subtraction, or the arrow portion to end portion. So 1, 0, 0 minus 0, 0, 0. So there is no fraction required. So the direction will be 1, 0, 0 in square bracket. It is the direction of this A. And for B, the points are 1, 1, 1. And then the next one is 0, 0, 0. That is the tail portion. And subtract this from head portion to tail portion. And from this, we got 1, 1, 1. Okay, 1, 1, 1. So here also no fraction records. This is the Miller indices of direction 1, 1, 1. And this one, for this one, the here we can see this is the direction, and here is starting from 0, 0, 0, and here ending at the middle of this edge, the half of A, and the distance y is equal to b. It is a d distance or fully unit length in y direction and zero length in z direction. So the projections or initial coordinates are for the starting point. It is for the starting point. It is 0, 0, 0, and the ending point. This ending point, the x intercept is half of this unit cell. Okay, so it will be half. It will be half. And what is the y-intercept? It is full length. So it is equal to 1. What about z? There is no intercept for the z. So it is equal to 0. So this is the two ends. Half 1 0 0 0 0. So by subtraction we got half 1 0 in the square bracket. This is the middle. Sorry, half 1 0. So there is a fraction. So to avoid the fraction, multiply with the largest denominator. So here 2. Sorry, multiply with the largest denominator. Multiply with the 2. So 1 2 0. So this is the middle. This is 1 2 0. Okay. And for some crystals, several non-parallel directions with the different indices are actually equivalent. Maybe some non-parallel directions may exist in these crystal structures are actually equivalent. This means that the spacing of atoms along each directions are same. So actually we use the directions for showing particular direction of atom. Okay, the atomic arrangement directions. But if the indices are different, for example, 1 2 0, 5 1 3 are two directions, for example, and maybe these two directions or the indices of these two directions are different, but actually they are equivalent because the atomic spacing between these two directions will be same. Here is an example in a crystal structure. All directions represented by following indices are equivalent. That means 1 0 0, minus 1 0 0, 0 1 0, 0 minus 1 0, 0 0 1, 0 0 minus 1. All are different indices indicating different directions, but all are equivalent because the spacing of atom between these directions are same. Okay, and these equivalent directions can be conveniently we can group together and be called as a family. We call all this as a family. Okay, which are enclosed in an angle bracket. We can enclose with an angle bracket. So this is the angle bracket. So what is a family of directions? In a family of direction, we can find a set of direction indices. In this set, all the indices are different, which gives different directions, but actually all these directions are equivalent since the spacing of atom along each directions are same. That is why we call as a family of directions, and we represent this family of directions using this type of bracket, angle bracket. Okay, and furthermore, the directions in the cubic crystal having the same indices without regarding the to the order or sign. For example, 1 2 3 and 2 1 3 are equivalent in case of this cubic crystal. If the crystal is cubic in nature, or for a cubic crystal structure, the 1 2 3 and 2 1 3 will be same. That means if we interchange the indices value, and or if we change the sign of the indices, then the directions will be equivalent. Okay, our indices will be equivalent. Or in general, not true for other crystal system. For example, so this is only for cubic crystal system, but this is not applicable for the tetragonal crystal system, because 1 0 0 and 0 1 0 are In tetragonal, these are equal, but 1, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 1 are not equal. So we can't say this is a general rule, but in some crystal system, this may vary. Okay, and this is about family of crystal directions. Another one, crystal Miller indices for planes. So we discuss about directions. So when we study about the directions of atomic arrangement for a particular unit cell or a particular crystal structure, the atoms are arranged in a particular orientation. So we need to specify the directions of atomic arrangement. This is very important because these directions actually in different directions the property, the mechanical properties are different. So to define the mechanical property, we need to address this direction. That is why we give 3 indices values for a particular direction. And we discuss about how can we give these 3 indices for a particular direction. Okay. So I'll give another example, one more example for direction. I'll give this example as a homework. So next one is crystallographic Miller indices for a planes. So crystallographic planes. Similar to direction, these crystallographic planes also an imaginary one. So actually there is no such planes inside the crystal structure, but we imagine some planes in between the atomic structure, and this is also important to define or give a particular address for these planes also, because the properties of the crystal structure in different planes also vary. So while defining the mechanical properties of the crystal structure, we need to specify these planes also. So we are giving a 3 integer number Miller indices to represent such planes. Okay. For example, the metal deform along a planes of atom which are more tightly packed. Okay, which are more tightly packed. So the last class I have said there is a chance for slipping in a particular plane or in a particular direction. So if the atoms are tightly packed in particular along a particular plane, then the metal can be easily deformed in that direction or in that plane. Okay, and for another plane, the atoms are maybe loosely packed. Okay, in another plane. So in that plane, the strength of the metal may be high. It is very difficult to deform in that plane. So we need to define different planes to study the mechanical properties. So Miller indices are a symbolic vector representation for the orientation of atomic plane in a crystal lattice. This is defined as the reciprocal of fractional intercept, which are the planes marked with the crystallographic axis. Okay, and Miller indices are represented with the 3 integer number SKL. SKL are the 3 in the integer number to represent the Miller indices. And any two planes parallel to each other are equivalent and have identical indices. If the two planes are parallel, which give same indices. The procedure for determining these Miller indices HKL. This HKL is used to represent a particular plane, where we use this curve bracket for indicating Miller indices for a plane, but we use square bracket for indicating the Miller indices of directions. Okay, and we use angle bracket for representing the family of Miller indices of directions. Okay, the bracket is very important. Here we use a curve bracket. And what is the procedure to find this HKL? If the plane passes through the origin of the coordinate system, the origin must be moved to the another corner of the unit system. That is very important. When we consider a particular plane to calculate this HKL value, the plane should not pass through the origin of the unit cell. Okay. So if a particular plane, commonly we use this point as the origin. Use this point as the origin. And if a particular plane is passing through this point, then what should we do? We should change the origin from here to here, or here to here, or here to here, or here to another unit cell. Okay, we can change to any corner. So we should change the origin. So the plane should not pass through the origin. So that is very important. Ensure this condition before calculating this HKL value. And identify the points at which the plane intersects the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Express the intercept in terms of lattice parameters. And take a reciprocal of these numbers. Intercept for a plane parallel to the axis to be taken as infinity with a reciprocal equal to 0. So first we calculate the intercept. Then if the plane is parallel to a particular axis, then we give infinity value for initially we give infinity value for intercept. Then we take the reciprocal, and then we similar to the direction first, and then we take the reciprocal, then we take a fraction by a common factor, then enclose within this curve bracket. Okay, so that is the procedure. So in case of directions, just you give the intercept and reduce with a common factor, then put it in this square bracket. Okay, here we use square bracket. So find the coordinate of head and tail portion in the direction, then multiply or divide by a common factor, then finally put it in a square bracket. But here there is one more step, that is first intercept. Then instead of here we are not subtracting anything, but here we take reciprocal. After taking the reciprocal, if there is any fraction, then multiply or divide with a common factor, then reduce to smallest integer value and put these 3 values inside this curve bracket. So that is the procedure. So this is an example here, and here we can see this plane, the hash plane, is intercept x plane, x-axis and y-axis and z-axis at the unit distance. So here this is a unit cell. So this will be 1. This is also 1. This is also 1 intercept. So x equal to 1, because here this plane, this inclined plane cutting the x-axis at 1 and y-axis at 1. Z-axis also at 1. So x equal to 1, y equal to 1, z equal to 1. Then take the reciprocal, that is the second step. So 1 by x, again 1 by 1, 1. 1 by y, that is also 1 by 1, 1. 1 by z, 1 by 1, 1. So here values are 1, 1, 1. So there is no fraction. So we can write this inside this curve bracket 1, 1, 1. So that is the Miller indices of this plane. And coming to this plane, this is a this hatched one is the plane, and here we can see this plane cut the x-axis here at the unit distance 1, so it cut at 1, and but this plane cut y-axis at the at here, that is almost double that of the unit distance, so that is why it is 2, y is equal to 2. Okay, and this plane is, this hatched plane is parallel to the z-axis. This hatched plane is parallel to the z-axis. So if any plane is parallel to any axis, then we give the intercept value as infinity. Then take the reciprocal. So 1 by x equal to 1 by 1 1, 1 by y that is equal to 1 by 2, 1 by z that is equal to 1 by infinity that is equal to 0. 1 by infinity is equal to 0. So we got 1, 1 by 2, 0. So here we have a fraction 1 by 2. To remove this fractional term, what we do? We multiply this with the highest common factor that is equal to 2. So multiply this 1 and 1 by 2 and 0 with the 2. So we got 2, 1, 0. Put it inside the curve bracket. So that is the Miller indices of this plane. And for this one, it cut the x-axis at the center here, center of the unit cell. That means it is half, and y-axis at 1. So this will be 1. So here it is half 1, and here it is cut at the 3 by 4th distance of this unit cell. So it is 3 by 4. Take the reciprocal, 1 by 2, reciprocal of 1 by 2 is equal to 2, reciprocal of 1 is equal to 1, reciprocal of 3 by 4 is equal to 4 by 3. And here there is a fraction time. The highest denominator factor, common factor is 3, multiply with the 3, 3 into 2, 6, 3 into 1, 3, 4 by 3 into 3, 4. And here 6, 4, 3 is the Miller indices. And for this one, here similarly, here it cut at 3 by 4 distance, not at the corner point of this unit cell. This at 3 by 4 distance is 1 by 4. This is the half distance. So take the reciprocal. This is integer. Then here after taking the reciprocal and multiply with the common factor, we got this value 4, 6, 12. And this 4, 6, 12 can be reduced to 2, 3, 6 by divided with the common factor. Okay, so that is also important. We should smallest integer. The final value should be a smallest integer. 4, 6, 12 is not a smallest integer. We can divide this 4, 6, 12 with the 3. Sorry, with the 2. Okay, so 2, 3, 6. And here 2, 3, 6. We cannot divide this 2, 3, 6 with a common value. So this is the smallest integer. And these are the different examples. And here for this plane, the x-intercept is equal to infinity, y-intercept is equal to here one more thing is that here the plane is passing through the origin. Here we can see the plane is passing through the origin. So what we do here we shift the origin from this point to this point. Shift the origin from here to here. So that is important. So after shifting the origin from here to here, the x-intercept again will be infinity, but y-intercept here, if the origin is here, then this distance will be -1 because this is a positive y direction. So if the origin is here, this distance will be 1. So y-intercept is equal to -1 because it is moving in the negative y direction. And again, this plane is parallel to z direction, so z also infinity. Take the reciprocal. 0 minus 1, 0. Here we have a negative value. So in the Miller indices, give this as a bar, 1 bar. Okay, and here also it's an axis. This plane is parallel to its axis. Y-intercept is 1, x-intercept is 1 by 2. We can write the Miller indices. So this is the procedure of drawing Miller indices. And there are some important aspects about Miller indices. The planes and their negative values are identical. Planes and their negative values are identical. And one more thing, 100 minus 100, both are identical because both are parallel. And 010 and 0, sorry, here there is a negative value. 010 and 0 minus 10 are equal, unlike the case of direction. In case of direction, 010 and 0 minus 10 are not equal, but in case of planes, both are equal. By changing the signs of all the indices of a plane, we can obtain a plane located at the same distance at the other side of the origin. So by changing the sign, we got same plane but at a distance in the other side of the origin. Okay, but both are parallel. And planes and their multiples are not identical, unlike the in case of direction. In case of direction, a particular indices and their multiples are equal. But in case of plane, the plane and their multiple. For example, if we multiply this with the 210 with a common factor, both are not same. The planes defined by Miller indices are obtained by changing the order and sign of indices represent the family of planes. This group of similar planes are denoted by a curly bracket. Similar to this family of directions represented in between the angle bracket, here the family of planes is represented within the curly bracket. Okay. And in cubic system, planes and directions having the same indices are perpendicular to each other. So, for example, if you take this is the 110 direction within the square bracket, and this is the 110 plane. And if this plane and this plane with the same indices will be perpendicular to each other. The plane and the direction will be perpendicular to each other, or we can say this direction with the 110 will be a normal of a plane 110 or for a cubic unit cell. It's only applicable for cubic units. And the parallel plane has same Miller indices. Distance between the two planes. We can calculate the distance between the two planes using an equation which contain this Miller indices a scale value. And this is the distance between the two planes. D is equal to A by root A square K square L square. So this is a very important equation because this equation gives the interplanar spacing in cubic units. For example, in case of a unit cell, if you take a unit cell, and this is a particular plane, this is another plane, okay, and the distance between these two planes can be calculated using this equation. Okay, so interplanar spacing can be calculated with this equation. So that is the importance of calculating importance of this formula. Some example for calculating the Miller indices of a plane. So draw the Miller indices of this 1 minus 2 1 directions and minus 2 0 1 plane in a cubic unit cell. So the question is actually a reverse one. So here the question given is Miller indices. From that we need to draw a plane and a direction. So 1 minus 2 1. So we know 1 minus 2 1 is the direction. Okay, 1 minus 2 1. So here locate the tail of the direction at the origin and move plus 1 distance. Here we can see the x-intercept is 1, y-intercept is minus 2, z-intercept is again 1. So from origin, if you take the tail portion as origin, then there is no need of subtraction. Okay, if you take the tail portion as origin. So here, if this is the origin. This is the origin. X-intercept is minus 1. X-intercept is 1. So this is direction of X, direction of Y, direction of Z. Okay. So X-intercept is 1. So that means it is passing through here. But Y-intercept is minus 2. So here this distance is only minus 1. So we need to draw another unit cell. You need to draw another unit cell. So this if this one is 0, this one will be minus 2. This is 0, this one will be minus 2. So minus 2, x-intercept is 1, y-intercept is 1. So this will be the head portion. 1 minus 2, 1. Okay, the x-intercept is 1, y-intercept here from this is the origin. From here minus 2 distance, z-intercept is 1. So this will be the tail portion. So draw a line from here to here. So this is the direction. Okay. So similarly, we can draw any Miller indices of directions. And how to represent this plane? Minus 2, 0, 1. Minus 2, 0, 1. So here in this, initially minus 2, 0, 1. Actually, this value we got after taking the reciprocal. Okay, so take do the reverse process, take the reciprocal of this one. So that means minus 1 by 2, 0, again 1 by 1. Okay, 1. So this will be the intercept. Because when we calculate the Miller indices of planes, this is a step. First step, if you do the reverse process, this is the Miller indices, and this Miller indices is got after this after taking the reciprocal, and this reciprocal is nothing but x-intercept and y-intercept and z-intercept. Okay, so here in this case, actually we are doing first to take the reciprocal, and these reciprocals are x, y, and z intercepts. Okay, so what is x-intercept? This is the unit cell. And this is the origin. X-intercept is minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2. Okay. So if this is the origin, this is the positive x direction. So we need to change the origin from here to here. We consider this as origin. So then this will be minus 1 by 2. This is the minus 1 by 2 point. And the y-intercept is 0. Okay, that means it is passing through this dash. And z-intercept is 1. That means it's an intercept here. Okay, so this will be the dash. This is the origin. So this is one point. This is the next point. This is the third point. And this is the fourth point of the plane. This is the plane. Okay, so here x-intercept is minus 1 by 2 because this is the origin. So x-intercept is minus 1 by 2. Y-intercept, this plane is parallel to y-axis, so y-intercept will be infinity. Z-intercept is 1. Okay, at the z-axis at 1. So we can do this reverse process for finding the plane from the Miller indices. And for a unit cell, different Miller indices are used to represent the directions and planes. And here we can see This is a 100 is the family of directions. For the cube edge. 100 is the family of directions with the cube edge. By changing this, interchanging the values 100, 010, 001, by interchanging this value or by changing the sign also. By changing the sign, we got different edges. For example, 100, this edge, 010, this edge, 001, this edge. Similarly, we can give the indices. This edge is 001, this edge is 010, and this edge is 100. Okay. So similarly, we can give the edges, indices of edges from by interchanging the values of this family. Okay, Miller indices, direction families. And the face diagonal is represented with this family 110 face diagonal. So by interchanging this value, we got different diagonals. For example, 110, this is the direction, and for another diagonal 101. By interchanging these numbers on this family of Miller indices directions, we got another diagonal, and for this diagonal 011, interchange this value. So similarly, we got different diagonals, and for body diagonal, the value is 111, and we know there is no difference interchanging. By interchanging, it is always 111. And the face of the cube is represented with a family of planes. The above all these things are family of directions indicated with the angle bracket. Here we use curly bracket for the family of planes. So 100. So this one 100. This is the plane, and the 010 this plane, and 001 this plane. So to represent the faces of the cube, we can interchange the values of this 100. And to represent the diagonals, for this we use 110, 110, 010, 011. So such family of 110 can be used, and that means curly bracket 110 can be used to indicate the different diagonals of the unit cell. And similarly, these are the different. Here you can see this plane and this diagonal are perpendicular to each other. We already said the one plane and if both are equal, same indices are perpendicular to each other, direction and plane. So here we can see both are same. The plane indices of this plane and the directions are same, 111, 111. So we can see this direction is normal to this plane, and here also both are normal. And these are the important planes of cubic unit cells. Okay, so try to find the Miller indices of planes and directions of such different planes. So that is about Miller indices of directions and Miller indices of planes. So in future, in the coming lectures, we will use this representation or representation of planes and directions to indicate different directions and planes. Because when we study different deformation characteristics or the different slip-in directions or different strength directions or strength plane and atomic packing, different densities are different in different planes. In all these times, we are using these Miller indices of directions and planes to represent the planes and directions. So these are very important topics in crystallography. So so in this by this I am stopping this lecture. So try to study how this how can we write the Miller indices of directions and planes for different directions and planes. So do some examples, and this is one of the important area. And do the both find the Miller indices of directions and planes, and also using the directions Miller indices of direction and planes, try to draw the planes and direction. Okay, do the reverse process also. So that is about today's lecture. Thank you.